Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of TeachTechPlay. I'm Eleni Kuritzis and I'm the host and founder of TeachTechPlay. Today we have a very special show with some of my favorite educators from the UK who are going to be sharing some of their favorite tools in the classroom, and hopefully you all get some great ideas that you can take back and use straight away. But before we get started, I just want to congratulate episode 32 winner, Kathy Hunt, who shared the wonderful things happening in her art classroom. So well done, Kathy. Now, if you do want to check out last month's episode, make sure you do jump onto our website and you'll be able to see that. The other thing I just want to remind everyone is voting is up on our website. So you can just go to teachtechplay.com/web show, and that's where you can watch all previous episodes and vote for tonight's Play King or Play Queen. I'll also like to remind everyone that we have launched the 2018 Teach Tech Play Conference, which will be held next year on Thursday the 12th and Friday the 13th of April at Ivanhoe Grammar School. And we have some fantastic keynotes including Casey Bell, Tom Barrett and Emily McLean. So make sure you don't miss out on your tickets for that. But enough of all of that, let's get started with tonight's show and let's introduce these wonderful educators from the UK. So first up, if you guys could all let us know where you're from and what you do, that would be great. So Ollie, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Eleni. So I was a maths teacher until May this year. I'm a Google certified innovator and trainer, but my biggest claim to fame was winning episode 3 of Teach Tech Play.
Yes, I know. And there's going to be a bit of banter, I think, on tonight's episode. I know when we caught up actually the first time ever in person, which was exciting at ISTE in June, Dean, I'd been trying to get on the show for a while and couldn't, and he was there. So him and Louise are the only two on tonight's show that do not have a crown. So I think it might be tough competition. So since I just mentioned you, Dean, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dean Stokes. I was a teacher for 9 years until I became the UK director at Apps Events. And so now I get to train teachers all around the world on using G Suite and Chromebooks. My biggest claim to fame was having Ollie join me on the Bet stand this year in London.
Fantastic. Louise, I also mentioned you just then. Would you like to introduce and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Louise Jones and I live in the far north of Scotland, in the Highlands, and I used to be responsible for technology and learning for all the schools across the Highland area. I've now left and I'm working independently, but I'm also one of the Apps Events bootcamp trainers. And can I start that again?
No, keep going, all good.
So yeah, I'm now working with Apps Events as one of their trainers, delivering the boot camps and speaking about all things Google. And you might see that I have, it's not a glove, I have actually broken my wrist, so I'm going for the sympathy vote today.
Perfect. And yes, female power as well for you, Louise. You've come on with a broken arm, so you've got my vote and you haven't even started. So boys, you've got a tough episode. Next up, we've got Jon, who is also a past presenter. So Jon, do you want to say hello and tell everyone what you're up to these days?
Sure. Hi, thanks very much for having me back again, Eleni. I've been a teacher for 10 years, still in school, with a role in a leadership team in a position of digital learning leader. So I've taken a step out of the classroom myself, but work alongside teachers to hopefully help what's going on in theirs.
Perfect, thank you. And last but not least, Ben, do you want to share what you do, Ben?
Hi, yeah. So I'm Ben Rouse and I've been a maths teacher for 13 years, which ended on the 31st of August. And I'm joining Dean and Apps Events, where we're going to go and maybe include a little bit of design thinking into the G Suite and Chromebook training that we offer. So pretty exciting times and looking forward to it. I believe I won an episode, but I can't remember which one.
Not a problem. You could go onto our website and always go back and rewatch your winning episode. But yes, I know that you guys do some fantastic things. So we're very privileged to have you back on the show to be sharing the wonderful things that you are doing now and also sharing other things that I know it's going to be tight competition tonight. So to get started, we have got Ollie, who will be kicking off the show with exploring G Suite, sheets, docs and slides. So Ollie, let me know when you're ready and I will start the timer.
Perfect. Get cracking, Eleni.
All right, it's starting.
Cool. So I'm here just for padding, obviously, because the real battle is Louise versus Dean. But I'm going to show a few things that some of you, even if you've been using G Suite for a while, may not have noticed about Google Docs, Sheets and Slides. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. I have here is just a really simple Google Doc, and it's just about Macbeth. So in the bottom right of any doc, sheet or slide, you have this button called Explore. And if you press on it, it does some pretty magic stuff. So it uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to scan through your document in Docs and work out what you're writing about. And it gives you some suggested topics you might want to read about, some images you might want to embed, and some related research. So if I was quite a lazy student, I could just come here and press this insert text button, and it'll insert the text onto my doc, and it's automatically footnoted as well at the bottom here. And if I wanted to, I could do some research about the 3 witches. I could go and find, let's say I've got this little paragraph here. Let's say I want to copy that and paste it in my document here. I can really simply just cite these as footnotes by pressing this button here. And what's great is you can actually choose between MLA, APA, or Chicago referencing. So you end up with kind of year 3 students doing pretty advanced university style referencing at the bottom of their page here. Likewise, if you need to include an image, I can just go ahead and drag and drop that in. And thinking about digital citizenship as well, what's great is all these images, when you click on them, they're linked back to the original source, which is really useful as well. So that's Explore in Docs, which is pretty useful. We're going to go ahead and jump across to have a look at Explore in Google Slides now. So again, the same button exists in the bottom right, but it does slightly different things in Slides than it does in Docs. So when I press Explore here, what it does is it basically allows me to stop making really rubbish looking slides. So I can just go and choose that kind of theme there, click through. I've got Dean's here, UK Director of Apps Events. I think that looks pretty good. Let's jump across to Ben. He has a lovely beard. So go for that one there. That highlights his beard beautifully. Jon Neale, apparently riddled with banter. Chuck him in there in a nice little frame. Louise Jones over here, Scottish Superwoman. So again, I can just kind of choose these and it makes my slides look a bit nicer. I can also use it if I want to go ahead and actually create a new slide. So let's say if I was tasked with doing something about the Eiffel Tower. So I want to make a slide all about the Eiffel Tower. I can use the Explore over here to, instead of jumping out to different parts of the web, I can go and search directly in here so students don't get distracted looking elsewhere. So if I've got a nice little fact I want to include, let's go for that one there and paste that in here. And let's say I want to add a little image in as well. Just drag and drop that in. So you'll see at the minute, this slide doesn't look very nice at all. So instead of students spending ages making it look pretty, I just go back here and choose this one here or this one here, and I have a really nice looking slide. If I want as well, there's a really handy feature in Slides where I can voice type the speaker notes. So I got the students to do this, and I'll show you how this works.
1 minute.
The Eiffel Tower was built for the 1889 Paris Exposition. Oh. The Eiffel Tower was built for the 1889 Paris Exposition. You get the idea. So students don't have to spend too much time actually writing stuff on their slides. Now, the final thing I want to show you is my favorite part of Explore, and it's in Google Sheets. So when you press Explore, again in the bottom right, it automatically scans your document and it will do some analysis for you. So it will give you some charts you might want to use. So if I want to go ahead and drag and drop this in, I've got a proper chart there. But my favorite part is the ability to ask your spreadsheet a question about your data. So if I want to, let's say, compare IQ with grade, there we are. It gives me the chart automatically for me. And if I want, I could find, let's say, the average grade for my pre-calc math students, for only the female ones. I could just ask a question there, and straight away I've got an answer. And I can press C formula. And if I want to show off to my boss, I can go and drag that formula onto my spreadsheet there. And you can get really advanced with this stuff. So if I want to compare male and female, 1 minute, Eleni, grade for AP. Let's just get rid of this stuff. You get the idea. You can ask any question you want and just get the formula there. So you don't have to be a spreadsheets wizard anymore. You just get a question.
Perfect. Thank you, Ollie. And if you just want to stop sharing your screen, perfect.
You got it.
Now, I know that a lot of people got really disappointed, especially when that research tool disappeared, but then it reappeared through Explore. And I know that a lot of people, I was at a training the other week and some teachers were like, I really am disappointed. And I said, no, it's back. It's in the Explore button. And I know that's something that people sometimes don't notice or don't see. And especially for Google Slides, it's amazing to just think, you know, you don't have to be the most creative person to customize and make your slides look pretty. So
You got it.
I know that kids, especially I teach grade 3, and the amount of time they could spend on decorating a slide deck could take longer than the lesson. So in knowing that and showing them that, it saves a lot of time. So thank you for sharing that. Something simple, easy, but very effective for the classroom teacher. So thank you, Ollie. Did anyone else have any questions or comments? No. Okay, we'll keep rolling on then. Louise, you're up next, Louise, and you'll be sharing recreating creativity. And creativity is something I am really proud of, and I believe I do a bit of this. So I'm excited to see and get some ideas from you as well. So let me know when you're ready and I'll start the timer.
Okay, I just share my screen now. So thank you very much. Yeah, I'd really like to show you something that I think is just great for teachers to use. It's a free tool. And we all know that in Google Docs, we've got this wonderful revision history, which is now changed to version history. So Google Docs got a bit of love this week. So we can actually go in and see the version history and all of the edits, and we can scroll back to a previous revision. And that can be really, really useful when you want to have a look at the way that a doc has developed over time. But when I started going into some schools and we talked about the creative process and how you could actually recreate that and have learning conversations with the students, we found that there was a really, really good tool that builds on that version history, and it's called Draftback. So you can go to draftback.com and you can download it for Chrome here. Now, what this does, if I just click, you can see I've got the document history button there. If I click on that, what it does is that it actually is creating it's just sitting there, you can see it's just clearing existing revisions. What this does is it uses that version history and it creates a little video of that document being created from scratch. And this stays with the whole life of the document, which is quite unique to kind of other word processing tools. And you can just see there that it's rendering. It'll take just a second to load up. This is a document that I've had for a while, so it's got lots of revisions into it. So yeah, that's just loading. We can see there that it's getting to 720. There we go. And now we can click the view button. And what this does is it's actually showing me creating the document and other people that have collaborated with me. And it's showing absolutely everything that I'm doing. It will even show when you've been voice typing as well. So this became really popular with teachers because not only could they see when chunks of text had been pasted into the document, so here you go, you can see the voice typing that I used here and you can see how that's changed. But the most wonderful thing is that if I click on the document graphs and statistics, it shows me every single edit, by who, how many revisions that they've done as well. I can even go back into this document and I can extract that as a clip, and I could embed that into, say, an e-portfolio as an example of evidence. Now, the funniest example I saw of this is when Mr. Costa, a science teacher, set some homework for his students, and he had one particular student who really wasn't kind of feeling great about doing the work, and he looked at the student's work in the morning when they'd returned their assignment in, and the student had actually typed blah blah blah, really don't want to do this homework for Mr. DaCosta. So it just showed
1 minute.
so it just really shows, you know, everything about that. So it really showed the people how this is a nice tool for learning as well, because everything they were doing in the document could be seen. Now, if you've got two students and you both know they're capable of doing the most wonderful pieces of writing, but you know that one student probably takes a little bit longer than the other, you can go back in and see all of the time that that particular student took to complete that particular piece of writing. And that's your evidence if you want to find some additional support for one particular student. So this has become really, really popular. It's a free tool. And yeah, I just think it's something that's going to be a great addition for a teacher to add to their toolbox.
Perfect. And you have 10 seconds left. So well done, finishing within the 4 minutes. Now, I actually didn't even realize that edition had come out. So thank you for sharing that. I know that something I had done previously was I had used Screencastify and just I had my screen open and recorded it, so I could see what kids were working, but obviously the scrolling, I didn't get to see everything. So that's really, really handy when you have also a whole class working on a document or editing and making changes, you can see. Does it also show the comments if comments are added by other students in the recording?
No, it doesn't add in the comments, but what I did like about it is the fact that it identifies the different collaborators. So if you're using cooperative learning, for example, and you've got one student who's maybe got a role for inserting and commenting on text or creating the text, that you can actually then switch the roles around, because you can make sure that everyone gets a chance to do that. So we found that it was really useful for cooperative learning. The inspectors, when they came in to inspect the school, just absolutely loved this tool as well, because it really gave teachers the opportunity to dive in and have learning conversations and ask questions more about how they came to create that document. I think as well, if, for example, if you had a CV that you created over time, it'd be quite fun to go back and have a look at what you had earlier on.
Yeah, definitely. I know. And I even know sometimes in revision history, it doesn't pull up every little detail as well. So that's actually really nice that you can see it and the video playback. Did anyone else have any comments or questions? No, I think everyone's busy trying to think what's the next cool thing I can pull out, because two out of 5 and I'm already blown away, and I'm now stuck on who to vote for. So next up, we have got Jon, and Jon will be sharing App Directory with us. So Jon, when you're ready, let me know and I will start the timer.
Sure, and just before I start, Eleni, I'm kind of sure after this you'll be feeling more relaxed, so don't worry. So, so yeah, I'm ready to go. I'll just share my screen.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep, go.
You see my slides? Okay, cool. So one of the key things about my role now is that because I'm not actually in my own classrooms very much at the time, but I'm working alongside colleagues, it's just trying to make sure that I'm not sharing apps for the sake of it, so that I'm kind of listening to them, looking at what they're doing in their classrooms, what they're trying to do, and then suggesting appropriate tools that they can use to to make some really transformative effect. So we kind of at the start of the year, I sat down with my boss and we made reference to the TPAC model, and our takeaways from that were kind of essentially 3 of them. So we wanted to make sure that whenever tools were delivered, that they were always put into the context of what was going on in lessons, that they weren't just delivered in isolation. Lots of co-teaching and planning going along. So I would work alongside colleagues as they were developing their bigger picture schemes of work, but perhaps individual lesson plans. And then if and when it was appropriate, I would go and support them in a lesson, or perhaps a colleague that had used the app that they were trialing would join them to teach the lesson as well. We also used something called learning triangles, where we had three colleagues from different faculties would get together on a half-termly basis, and they would share their so they would share their thoughts together in person. They would put that onto a collaborative doc, and then I would be able to view that. They could tag me in comments, and then we could take our work from there. So if we look at the learning triangles, that looked like this. So it was all within Google. We're a G Suite 3DU school. So this is the folder, and then what would happen is that, so you have the Google Doc on the right-hand side. You can see that after their various meetings that they documented what they discussed, they talked about next steps, and then on the right-hand side of that image, of the animation, you can see that there's quite a lot of comments going on, and this is obviously supplemented by face-to-face conversations as well. One of the upshots of all of this going on is that we started to develop a core kind of suite of apps that lots of the staff were using and trialing, but the kind of default was to put them into a spreadsheet, but that was quite hard to access and didn't necessarily help out too much when you were trying to look for tools and kind of trying to give students and parents access to the same tool. So what we did, or what I did, was I combined Google Sheets with Awesome Table, which if you haven't used before, I would definitely recommend. Super powerful way of taking your Google Sheet data and then putting that into a nice searchable database. And then we came up with this, the app directory. Can you see the screen, Eleni?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So this is great because it's built within a Google site. It's great on all devices. Perfect. It works on phones and tablets just as well. So let's say that I want to use here, so I want to create, and I want to have something that's going to allow me to collaborate as well. And you can see there's various tools down here, CoSpaces, Jamboard, etc. You can click on each one, and then it takes you to a link to the web app or to the App Store perhaps. And there's also a YouTube demonstration. But I've also set it up to allow, so you can search, you can search for particular phrases, and it'll then take you to those apps, with the idea being that kind of, that there's millions of apps out there, and this is a way that we've been able to curate apps that sort of work for us in our context. So that's the URL for it, bit.ly/app directory. And what was great was at the end of the year, we had a teaching and learning showcase, and we're not a particularly big school. We number about 25 in the full-time teaching staff, but of those, we had 17 give some really interesting demonstrations and just sharing some of the tools that they felt had transformed what they were doing, and we're taking that forward next year as well. So yeah, that's that.
Perfect. Thank you, Jon. And that's something that always comes up by people saying, what app do I use and when? So I'm actually really excited to just go and have a search through there to see what apps you have also been using and exploring, to see if I can find some new ones to introduce into my classroom, because there are thousands of apps out there, and it really just depends on your purpose and what you want. So for you guys to have created that is amazing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I should add as well that that I tried as hard as I could to actually not make them specific to subjects. Yeah. So it wasn't like saying I'm a maths teacher, I need to do this. It was more talking about the concepts that and the skills that we wanted students to acquire with digital skills through their transition at Halcyon. So hopefully we've at least gone a little bit of a way to achieving that.
Yeah, no, I really like that. Did anyone else have any comments or questions?
Yeah, Jon, just a quick one. I'm just wondering, when you created that site and the awesome table, how long is like the initial setup to get that done?
So they come with lots of templates with an awesome table itself. So what I did was I just took one of their templates and then gave it a few tweaks, and then it was pretty straightforward after you got into the swing of it. But the initial getting your head around it and going into the second tab of a Google Sheet, there are kind of one or two things that you might have to tweak, but all in all, it was well worth the effort of getting to grips with, and it's kind of quite a nice outcome.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions? No? If anyone's got any questions about that add-on for Google Sheets, just reach out to Jon. I'm sure he's happy to help out if you've got any ideas as well and need some help. Because I know I'm not a massive expert with Google Sheets, but I've started exploring more, and there are lots of tips and tricks in there that make it easy. So if you want to use it and need some help, just reach out. That's what TeachTechPlay community is all about. Next up, we have got Ben. So Ben, let me know if you are ready and I can start the timer.
Yeah, oh, pardon me, I wasn't ready at all, obviously. Yeah, so I'm ready to go. And thanks to Jon for the little segue in there. I don't know if you noticed when he was in the app directory, he just typed in make, and a funky little app came up. So let's have a look at that.
Yes, because I didn't actually say what you were sharing. I haven't started the timer yet, but you're sharing SketchUp for EDU. So we're looking forward to that. I'm
going to give it a go.
Perfect.
So, right, hopefully that makes, am I showing what I should be showing?
Yes.
So you got SketchUp, the link there on the slides allows you to get into these slides. There's a couple of links on there that might be useful for anyone that takes a bit of interest in it. So SketchUp's been around for a while as Google SketchUp, and recently there's been a new edition which is available for schools for free. So you can, through your G Suite, you can add it through the app marketplace, which I'll show a bit later. But what I was going to do is have a little play around with it now, which is always risky, but let's give it a go. So it turns out, I don't know if you're aware that in London, Google are in the process of designing and then building a brand new building. And that's what it's meant to look like. Swimming pools, farm, all sorts of crazy stuff in it. But I thought I could probably do a better job. So I'm going to give it a bit of a go now in SketchUp. Oh, please don't crash everything. So what I'm going to do is jump out into any of my Google apps. And because I added it as an admin, which is how you have to add the new one, you'll find that SketchUp for schools is down here. Right, so it's hilarious, little comment down the bottom, and it changes each time as it's loading. So for all the geeks out there, this is classic stuff. So it's going to put me into a big 3D space where I can start drawing and sketching and various things. You can tell that's not me because the guy's got hair and everything. All right, so the bit I particularly liked in terms of education was, it was based on the idea, at the back of my garden, the primary school at the bottom of my garden is building a new kitchen. And I was rather uninspired by the design. So what I'm imagining while I'm doing this is that all the kids get to design their own school kitchen. And the way you can do that, so I won't show you all the tools today because I've only got a few minutes, but you can add a location. So, oh, how very convenient. Look, we're right next to St Pancras and King's Cross, and this is the area where Google's new building is going to go. So if I select that region and grab it, it will lay it onto my 3D space. So what I can do is I can start building Google a better building than they've thought of so far. So here we go. It's going to be pretty exciting. It snaps to sort of the different directions, X, Y, and Z, if you like, and it's automatically in feet and inches, but if you type in 300, it will actually draw something that's the specified length. And there we go. So we've got a little footprint now for the building. This bit I really like. So I can take that and go whoosh. There we go. So we've got, I mean, already looking better than Google's design, I think you can probably admit. And let's try and put
1 minute.
Bit. Oh, this is going to go badly. And you can get the idea. And there's lots of tools to play around with, not least, if we go on to here, you can look at different materials. Now, I think if I was Google, I'd probably go with crazy paving on the side of it. Let's look at that. It's a pretty neat design. So there we go. Through SketchUp, I have designed Google a better building than they could ever thought they could have got. It saves to Google Drive. So once you do that, and here's a few I did earlier, you can save into Google Drive. So I've been having a little play, and here's a better version. And here it gives you the option to open with SketchUp. So this is pretty magical. This is, you know, I put a bit more time into this. Here's a little banter from the SketchUp guys again. And the bit that I'll talk about while that's loading up is you can also assign it to make a copy through Classroom. So if you're using Classroom fairly regularly, you can have a template that you've created, such as, there we go, wow, look at that. Isn't that
And
nice?
the buzzer just went off, but that's all right.
Oh.
I can see your building there.
There we go. So the final bit I'd just quickly sneak in is that I have assigned in Classroom making a house project, and Sean, who's a student in my classroom, can open it up and get started on using my template to then build on the creation. So that is Google SketchUp. Hopefully that wasn't too tedious. And a new addition for schools.
No, thank you for that. That's fantastic, because I know 3D building and everything through here in Australia, our digital technologies curriculum is always getting kids to manipulate and build with shapes digitally. And a lot of teachers find it hard to find programs that work. So that's really great that that's available and free in G Suite, that teachers can add it in. One quick question, does it work across devices or just through the Chrome browser?
I've only tried it through the Chrome browser so far, so I'll have to pass on that question. I hope so.
No, just wondering, because I imagine it probably doesn't work on iPads, but just for viewers, if they need to, they can just explore, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reasonably decent design package. So there's a lot of features, and it's a lot easier to use with a mouse with a little scrolly button on. So that's it makes it hard to use with that.
Yeah, completely understand. Perfect. Did anyone else have any comments or questions?
Just quickly, Ben, are all those completely free, all the features in there?
Yeah. So they've got the beta version, which is available for schools. You add it as an admin through the marketplace, and once you've added it, you can push it out to all the users in your domain, and they get access to it with no fee.
Amazing.
Perfect. Thank you, Ben. Something new and interesting for our viewers to take back. So thank you for that. And last but not least on tonight's show, we have got Dean, and he will be sharing with us today Jamboard. So Dean, let me know when you're ready and we can start.
Yeah, I'm good to go. Let me just share my Chromebook screen here. All right. That's looking good, right?
Yep, perfect.
Wait, I'm ready to go.
Go for it.
Perfect. So I feel like Ben just dropped the mic with that SketchUp. I wasn't feeling too concerned until that one, but here we go. Let me talk to you a bit about Jamboard. Now, Jamboard is two things. The first thing is it's a piece of hardware from Google. It looks a bit like that thing on the screen. In fact, exactly like that thing on the screen, because that is it. And that is going to cost about $5,000 as a piece of hardware. Which is a lot of money, especially when it's for a school, but it's an amazing touchscreen. There's like 12 points of touch. Loads of people can collaborate at the same time. That's all good, but the better thing is that Google have released the companion app that works on Android. So I'm actually running the Jamboard Android app on my Chromebook right now, which is what you guys are seeing. And I'm going to run you through it. This pretty much has all the same features as the board itself. And there is also a web viewer, and you can view from your mobile as well. And I believe there is an iOS app. If it's not already there, then it's coming soon. So that means we can all collaborate. But before we do that, I'm just going to run you through a few of the features. So really, this its most basic is just a whiteboard. So I've got the pen tool over on the left here, so I could just write hello. Maybe I'd write my name or something like that. But actually, if I switch here, you can see that I've got a number of different tools. So I've got a shape tool down the bottom. Let's just change the color here. Let's make that red. I could use a highlighter. You see I've got one here, which is text. Now that is actually handwriting recognition. So now if I write my name, for example, like this, I shouldn't have drawn a line under it because that's going to confuse it. Let me just throw that out down there. You can see that it recognized what I wrote. So if I maybe write Ben's name like this, it's going to recognize Ben. It's pretty good. It's very accurate. And once I've done that as well, I could then use two fingers. And if I want to bin something, I just drag it to the bottom of the screen like this. These I can zoom in and out of the board there as well. So let me grab Ben and throw him out there. All right, let me just resize this to get us back to where we were. Now I've got an eraser tool, so I could go through and rub everything out. Or in fact, you know what? I could just clear the whole board like this. So these are the most kind of basic tools. But down the bottom here, if I tap this plus icon, I could do a few other things. I could insert some things from Drive. We all know what that's going to look like if I throw in some slides or something. So why don't I do a quick image search? Now, I was a media teacher, so I'm going to search for magazine front cover like this. And I could just take this picture of a magazine and throw it onto the canvas over here. Now, if I want to make it bigger, obviously I just use my fingers. I'm pinching and moving this around right now. And then I could go back to the pen up here and have maybe some students circle things and label and maybe write what they are. And we could do this with newspapers. And because we could collaborate, I could have multiple people doing this. And I'm going to show you collaboration in a second. Now, one really nice example that I like actually is I can search the web. So this globe icon here, if I tap on there, I could maybe search for something like define banter.
1 minute.
Thank you. And then I can use this cut and paste tool here. Let me just scroll down slightly. I can use this cutting tool here to take a screenshot of the results like this. And I can throw those results in on the canvas as well. So it's really quick to use. Now at the top of the screen, I've got multiple screens here. So we can see that Jon and Louise are on here. Jon and Louise, if you could just start writing some things for us, that would be great, just using the pen tool. And if you look, you're going to see the small icon with Jon. It shows us who is doing what. That's a great video of Ollie there at ISTE, by the way, trying out expeditions in self-guided mode. But maybe I could write here. And I know that Ben loves a Post-it note. And the great thing is we have the option here to throw in Post-it notes. So we could come up with ideas. So maybe if we write down some words that are related to banter.
I am sold on the Post-it notes, loving it.
Yeah, and then we can just move these around. Now, Jamboard works with Hangouts as well. So Jamboard can be involved right inside a Hangout. So even if someone isn't collaborating, they can see what's going on. A great way to come up with ideas. And if I want to share it, I just tap the 3 dots at the top of the screen, sometimes called the meatballs. and I can just add people like this, and we can see everybody that it's shared with just there. And that is the Jamboard Android app running on my Chromebook.
Perfect. And I hope that works on iOS, because I want to use it this week, because I've just connected it to something we're doing and we were looking for a tool. Quick question, can you record voice onto it as well?
No, not at the moment. The way around that would be to like record an audio file into Drive and then insert that file onto the Jamboard.
Yeah.
This is like really new right now. So they're just starting to find their way into businesses. I think maybe some schools will start buying them, but there's definitely going to be more and more updates as time goes on.
And you don't have to have the board, do you, to use, obviously you don't have the board right now. So you could just run it on computers or on iPads and it will work. Exactly
that. The only thing you need to do if you're the domain admin is enable Jamboard services on your domain, and it's under the additional services area in the apps section of the admin dashboard.
Perfect. I think I've learned something new from everyone tonight. That was like my favorite episode of like Google apps smashed together with heaps new ideas. So Dean, when you can you just stop sharing your Chromebook screen for me? But that does bring us to the end of the episode, and I feel really sorry for our viewers today to have to vote and try to find one that they love, because they were all really good, but Jamboard, I think I need to use this week. So, Dean, I think you might have my vote. I'm sorry, Louise, you had my vote as well, but that is really, really cool from the classroom teacher perspective, the way we can use it. Did anyone else have any questions for Dean in regards to Jamboard since it's new?
I was just going to say that, oh, can you still see me?
Yeah.
I was going to say that I was doing it on my phone as well. So you can do that on, your own personal devices. So that's a really good example where you could use that with bring your own device in schools. I think that works really well.
So just one note is the mobile app originally was view only. And I spoke to the team and they were worried that a mobile phone screen was going to be too small. But what they've done now is added the options to do, you can either insert like post-it notes, images or stuff from Drive from your phone. But what you can't use is the pen tool, just because it is a bit fiddly, right? Trying to do the pen on the screen here would be a bit of an annoyance.
Yeah, but no, very, very cool. So thank you for that. And I imagine on the iPad it would...
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and even on the iPad, I imagine it would be a bigger screen. Can you write on the iPad or? Yeah,
it's on the tablet app. So I'm using the tablet version of the app on my Chromebook. On the tablet app, you can do all of the things that we saw today.
Perfect. Any other questions?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Lainey, the question about can you get it on the iPad? And you can. I was using my school iPad. And we actually, because we're lucky enough to be back at school now doing staff training, and Jamboard is one of the apps that I shared with staff, and just as you said, it kind of, people straight away think of ways that they can utilize it really well in their classroom. So no, it's a really great tool. Thanks, Dean.
Yeah, because we were using, I know on the iPad, the new Explain Everything, where you can get the school version, but the cost of that being mid-year here, we can't really do something mid-year, but that's easy since it's nice and free. We just have to enable it in the love free stuff. So that's really, really handy. Thank you for sharing that. But that unfortunately brings us to the end of today's show. So make sure that you do go to our website and make sure you vote. So I'll just bring up the voting slides again. So make sure you go and vote for your favorite presenter. We'll release the Play King or Queen on Friday. And check out our website, explore the educators of TeachTechPlay and our blog page. And I look forward to seeing you all next month for episode 34 in October. So thanks everyone for joining us today, and look forward to next month. And thanks to all the UK guys for making today's episode work. So see you later, guys. Bye.